Hey everybody, welcome back to Cottonwood Hill Farms. So this is part 2 of the repair for the Massey 85. If you haven't seen part 1 yet, I'll link it here in the video. Go check that out. But where we left off, we got everything torn down. We got the slip clutches pulled out, and they're sitting here on the bench. So I'm gonna tear those apart, take the old ones out, start putting the new ones in, and then hopefully get this thing put back together. I'm not gonna get it all done today, obviously, but hopefully I'll get a good start to it. So that's the clutch pack right there. As you can see, these things there's just nothing left. It's no wonder the PTO, I can't believe the PTO even worked as long as it did, as bad as these are. 2, 3, 6. So when these go back in, they have to go back in the exact same way. So the one thing I didn't pay attention to was all these little teeth that are on those plates, on these plates right here. I didn't pay attention to see if they were lined up. I'm looking at the book, it doesn't, looks like some of them are, but a few of them aren't. But I can't imagine it's going to make a difference, because all this is doing is turning. And then what happens is there's a big, I should have showed you, I guess, but there's a spring, there's a big spring inside here, and this compresses and releases, and it's just like a clutch in a transmission. The clutch plate is going to release, it's going to apply pressure and release pressure depending on what you're doing with the pedal. This is the same way with the lever. It's either going to apply pressure or release pressure. So it shouldn't matter, because all it's going to do is when you release pressure, it's going to allow you to spin around these discs. That way it's slipping, and then when you apply pressure, it's just going to squeeze together. And that's just going to allow the friction to hold it together when it's squeezed, so it will turn. It essentially becomes one big gear. So I can't imagine that makes a difference. All right, well, we got that done. So I'm gonna mix up some degreaser here, and I'm gonna start hosing this thing down. I want to clean out that housing pretty good, especially this front here. It's got a lot of debris. I don't know if you can see that or not, but there's a lot of crap in here. So I'm gonna get all that cleaned out, hose this down, and let it drain into this bucket. And I'll do the back side too. And then I'll probably hose all this down too. Just clean all this up before I put it back together. All right, so it's a couple days later. I've sprayed this down several times. As you can see, it's looking pretty clean in there. Sprayed it down, washed it out, and that's kind of what came out of it. But both sides I think are looking good enough for me. A lot of shavings in there, a lot of shavings, but
honestly, the gears, I don't think these gears look too bad. They're not showing a whole lot of wear. And as far as the bearings go, I don't feel that the bearings are loose. I think they're okay. I'm gonna leave them alone for now. So no more, the work that this tractor is gonna be doing, I'm not too concerned with it. So I took, I still got some parts. I got some parts here, and I got some parts over here on the table here I gotta get washed off. But I took this, this is the hydraulic pump and the strainer and everything. I took it down to the neighbor's shop. He's got an ultrasonic cleaner, and had him go through and clean all this up. So this is all ready to go back in. I picked up a new sump strainer, sump filter, I guess is what you call it. Strainer, I think, is the proper term for it. But that other one was in pretty rough shape. This one should work real good. I also got I got some gasket maker here, the gray kind. I've always heard the gray is supposed to be the best. We're gonna put a little bit of grease on the tip of on this to make it slide in a little bit easier. So I just about got that all the way in. It needs to come through a little bit more, but what I did was I put grease on that shaft and then grease on the inside of the bearing. And these, I guess I didn't address that, these bearings look just fine. So I got to go in about another 1/4 inch. I had to pop this thing back out real quick. I didn't notice this. I don't know if you can see those in there. It's really hard to see. There's 3. Hold on. Here. Right here where my pick is. Right there. There's one there. There's one there. And there's one here. Those little knobs, when you're putting this back in, they've got to be lined up with these holes. There's a hole here, and then there's a hole down here, and then there's another hole over on this side right here, and those all have to be lined up. That's what you can see right here, I was kind of pounding on that a little bit, and you can see I was off. I didn't have that lined up, so that's pretty important. All right, I got that seated in there. What I ended up doing, I had to pull this out a couple times, but what I ended up doing was putting, so there was a stud on the bottom, and then there was 3 of them, and they were evenly spaced, so 2 on top and 1 on the bottom, centered. So what I did was I made, on the holes on the back of the clutch, I made marks. You can't see them, but I made took a marker, put a mark here, put a mark there, and put a mark down at the bottom so I could see. And then I put it in there, and then just use the screwdriver. There's if you'll see, you can slide this gear out all the way. So I got that out of the way, and then I just used the screwdriver back in there. Just put a screwdriver in there like this on that gear, and then use that to turn the clutch a little bit, whichever way I needed to, and then I was able to get it seated back in there. So the next thing I got to do is I got to put this snap ring right here goes on that shaft where it's sticking through. So I'm probably not gonna get this on video, but so got my bearing and all this stuff cleaned up here with my DIY parts washer. So this goes right in here. I got these tightened up here. Bearing goes in. And then the washer goes in. So that goes in like that, and then what we do is when we fold over just like a wheel bearing, fold over one of those tabs. And then once I get that tightened up, well, not tightened up, but I just snug it and then fold the tab over, we're ready to put the pump back in. There we go. Yahtzee. All right, so I got the pump back mounted. I got the those pins put back in right here on either side right there. I don't have them tightened down all the way because with that gray silicone, I was reading you're supposed to put it on and then just snug it up, and then you come back and tighten it after it kind of dries up a little bit, which makes sense. So I got those pins in, so they're holding this in place. I got the sump back in with the new filter or new screen, and then I just put the I believe this is draft control. I'm pretty sure that's what this is. Yeah, draft. That's what it says. Got that put in. Just put the pin in. You can kind of see I just wedged a screwdriver. It's got a spring to push that out and hold it. And that worked just fine. So I got that pin in. So now I'm looking. I'm pretty sure I'm ready to put this thing back together. All right, I got one more piece here. I just realized I got to put on, and this goes down right on top of the pump. If I remember right, it goes like this. Yeah, just like that. Grandpa's old screwdriver's coming in handy right now. All right, I got it. Okay, roll her forward. Yep, perfect. Okay, so I got this back together. I'll show you what I did here. I had to take these pins back out and loosen the hydraulic pump up, and then once I did that, I was able to, this shaft down below here, that's the shaft that I was having issues with. This shaft right here comes completely out, and you can see there's a bottom shaft. That collar doesn't slide. So by taking the pins out, I was able to then wiggle and just slide the hydraulic pump forward just enough to get it hooked on. And then once I did, we were able to get it all put back together. And then this goes and then that goes right back in. All right, I got this all back together. I got the sump screen back in there. The next thing I'm going to do, I got to put the cotter key back in here. That's what holds all this. This just sits in there, and then there's a cotter key that keeps this from sliding back, and it keeps this shaft from sliding back also, so it just holds them out. Get that cotter key in, and then we're good. The next thing I'm going to do, I got to pull this piece off. If you remember, that's the one I didn't realize you had to take out. Got to pull that off, and then I'm going to clean this top part up, and then we're going to put the cap back on it, and then I got to hook up these linkages here. I got this assembly. I'm going to hang in here. I'm going to power wash it quick and get it all cleaned off. I'm getting these linkages hooked up here. The first one was this one. It just goes right inside here. This one I already got on there, and then this one's next. I'll show you from the top side, but this has to come up and then hook onto this piece right here. It's kind of hard to see. Oh, good thing I pulled this off. So this is the power steering pump I just pulled off. I'm kind of glad I did because the sock or the screen on it is all tore up. So you can see right there, I'm gonna have to get a new one. While we're at it, we're gonna pull the power steering. This is the power steering filter, I believe, or strainer. I'm not sure which they call it, but we're gonna pull that off and check it too. It had this spring and this, it's like a sock basically that came off of this, that sat down in the oil, and as you can see it was all rotted and rusted, so I'm glad I took that off. But anyway, what I ended up doing was just making this. It ain't pretty, but it's gonna work just fine. It looks like there's some, my welding job looks like duck poop. But anyway, what I did was I I took this off. We found this came off of a small engine. I can't even remember where it came from. And then I just used a piece of 3/4 inch conduit and welded to the back side of this. Put a T on here with a little small piece of all thread, 1/4 inch all thread. And then I just made a filter. So now this will just sit down in that oil in place of that, because they don't make this part anymore. And then we'll bolt this back on. It just bolts on right here. Just like that, and it'll sit down in there. So I think that's it. We'll get this put on, and then I'm going to start putting some oil and stuff back in it and see if I can fire this thing up. I had to cut just a little bit off of this. It was hitting the bottom of the casing, and so I cut this much off of the filter and then just put the rubber piece on the end of it. And then I did get a smaller washer too, because the washer was kind of big. But now it should be, it's right inside this, which is where the old one was, so it should fit just fine. I think that's gonna work just fine. This filter I just took off and cleaned with some gasoline. It should be fine. Everything looks good on it. It's not packed with anything. There were no shards on it. Should be fine. All right, well, I got this thing. It's not, I did get it to fire. I tried to start it, but it's still got, I think it's got some dirt in the fuel line or something. It needs an inline filter put in it. Also that gasket on the glass right here for the fuel, this gasket up here needs replaced because it does leak a little bit. But anyway, so I got that repair done. I'm gonna end the video here because this turned out to be a lot longer than I expected. This also took me a lot longer to get out. We've had a lot of things going on over the last 6, 7, oh actually 8 months now. So I apologize for not getting this out a little bit quicker or any other videos, but we're gonna end this one here. There will be a part 3 because there's a few more things we got to do. Got to clean the carburetor a little bit. I think it got some dirt in it. And there's also the steering. I think I pointed it out earlier in the video, but on the bottom of the It would be the steering gear. There's a nut or a bolt that fell out, so that I've got to get that fixed. Not a big deal, just need to get a new bolt, put some Loctite on it, and then get that put back up in there. And then I need to get the fenders and the 3-point and all that stuff put back on. So anyway, that's going to do it for this one. Again, sorry for not having any videos out lately, guys. We've been very busy. There'll be more to come. I'm going to try and get some more videos out coming here over the next few months through the winter. Just to give you guys an idea, we started this project, I think it was in April. I think it was April of last year. And now it is November. It's almost Thanksgiving of 2024. So a lot going on this summer, stuff that was just more important than getting videos out. So apologies about that, guys. But anyway, stay tuned. I got part 3 coming out, and then hopefully I'll be slowly getting back into some more videos. So thanks again, guys. If you haven't already, like and subscribe. That helps us out a lot. We appreciate that. Thanks for all the support, like always. And you guys take care. We'll see you in the next one.